Cool.
So I'm on the main facing site, so the aapb.org.
hmm
So under here we have these webinars set up.
hmm
Um, so Andrew, I see there's 2020 webinars here. Do you have anything set up for this yet?
I have probably 5 or 6 webinars that I need to get scheduled.
Okay,
So I just don't have dates nailed down with them yet.
okay,
But yes, there should be. Um, I need to actually update this page too because that's way outdated. That
okay. Maybe is it under? Okay, so these are linked to the same thing. Okay. All right. So we'll go over how to make changes to that area over here, and also like how to link to a webinar specifically. So I'll go into the back end here. So aapb.org, when I'm signed in to the admin facing site, I'll actually refresh this. You can see that I am logged in to the back end. So if I were to log out of here, start from scratch, it does take me to that front end site. So when you're on this front end site, we would just log in and we would just go with our credentials and log in, and it takes us to that backend site.
Okay, so I don't think I have access to any of that.
Yeah, and
I'm
we
sure I will eventually, but you got there from the web page?
yep. So
Okay.
yeah, so you can log in as an admin from there, and members use that same area to log in as well. And I'll actually give you a full i4a training once we do get you set up.
Oh, good. Okay.
Just so we can go over all of that. Today, though, we'll focus on just the content manager, and that's actually a
Oh,
pretty big part of this as well. So um, it will be very helpful. Looks like we do have one open license. So Andrew, if you want, I can get Melody added.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so I'll do that after our call, and then I'll send you an email, Melody.
okay.
All right, so once you're on the back end here, you can get to that content manager by going to content and then content manager. Andrew, you noticed obviously that that old content manager is gone now.
Right.
Before they did have an old content manager where it was slightly easier to make changes, for us at least, since that's what we were used to. But we do have to learn this new content manager now. So I'll click into this.
And the content manager, Melody, is just where, we can see kind of current web pages and click on them and make changes and updates and things, or create brand new web pages that will automatically be, added or updated on the AAPB website.
Okay.
Yeah, so exactly what Andrew just said. So you can basically see the entire website here in a nutshell. Um, so I'm gonna switch from the back end and the front end quite often. So right now I'm on Google Chrome, and I always recommend when you're making changes to the back end on the CMS, you should always just have another tab open in a new browser so you can see what it looks like on the front end.
hmm
So we see all these tabs here on top and on the side here. So all these pages that are set up, we can find within here. And there is a lot going on here, 681 total pages. Um, that doesn't mean all of these are active. Some of these aren't active and not appearing in the menu. You can see here in menu is selected as no. And if it's selected as no, that just simply means that it's not showing on the website right now. It just means that the page has been created, and if you want to access that page, you can access it, but no one from the site can actually see it. So I will go to the webinars. So Andrew, while we were waiting for Melody, I actually quickly added a category here for 2018 webinars.
Okay.
And I actually added all of those webinars to this area here. So it's a
Okay.
little easier for you to look at. But if we don't set up these categories, the reason i4a has these categories is so we can easily identify these pages.
hmm
Without these categories, it is very hard to locate. You kind of have to know the page name or the page ID to
Right.
search for it on the bottom right here. So we'll go to the 2018 webinars. You see the page ID is here on the side. So if you do know the page ID, you can search for it here. If you do know the title of that page, you can search that here as well. So I'll just do 3895, which we already see here. And if I go to the I here, so on the top, let me go over these options actually. So this first option is the add content. So this is if you wanted to add a new page from scratch, we would click on this icon here. The second one is edit content. So this becomes available. And Andrew, this was on the old CMS too. It's just in a different area now. But this becomes available if there is a WYSIWYG editor within the page. So if someone's made added some content from scratch, they would see this icon available. The mobile content is also available here. So you can edit this if you want, but I would recommend you don't. If you just leave this alone, it's most probably blank, like you see here. And if it's blank, it just simply means that it's copying over whatever is on the main site's page. So it'll copy over to that mobile site as well.
Okay.
Since I'm already here, this is the WYSIWYG editor. Andrew, you're probably pretty familiar with this.
Yeah.
For Melody, this on top here is basically the WYSIWYG. So what you see is what you get. It's essentially what you see on Word or any other CMS. It's just basic editing tools for your, if you want to make text changes and whatnot. Over here, we can see there's a link added. So these are the link options: to add a link, to remove a link. You can see, I think Andrew built this. So this is a bulleted list that he built. And this is done via this tool here. You can even do a numbered list. And then you can change the styles here on top as well for the headings.
Nice.
Yeah, you kind of can play around with it and see the different options here, and Andrew can help you along the way as well. But I think it's pretty self-explanatory. So once this page is created, so Andrew, do we want to add this to the website, or do you want it to be hidden and you kind of provide that link to people as they need?
So the way that it's set up is so we are trying to add this to the store. So this page won't live out and about. They would have to go to the AAPB store, and then they would see, you know, they can search by, I think, recordings or webinars or whatnot. And then it would live there.
Got it. Okay.
Exactly. Yep. And so I think, again, yeah, like the last ones, the newest ones in here are going to be like my webinar, like 3 or 4 from 2019.
Okay. And so within here, so what's the process? So they go here, they, sorry, I'm not familiar. So they add this to the cart, and then after they download it, is there like a confirmation email with the link to that recording?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, they get a PDF document.
Got it. So then over here, basically, all we would really need to do is replicate this page, and then kind of create that into your new recording.
So would because again, looking at kind of the old processes, again, obviously they're not accurate, but we did have it broken we had it broken down by year. So everything in 2018 was, all those recordings were underneath like the 2018 header, 2019 were underneath 2019. How do we create like that new 2020?
Yeah. So let me actually go. I'm gonna go ahead and refresh this page and get to that content manager again. So like on the old So this is for you as well, Melody. So on the old content manager, actually, so what we had before was that we had this area here. So webinars, 2020 webinars. And so these aren't hidden pages. So that's why they're all appearing here. The ones we were looking at, so I'm gonna actually go to that category I created. So the ones we're looking at here, in the past, they did used to show up like underneath the webinars area here as hidden pages. And unfortunately now we cannot have them display here. It's just the way i4a does things. So they're all displayed within this area. So Andrew, the solution we would have to do for that is we would have to create these categories. And I think you may have created this category actually, 2020 webinars.
Yep.
So when we create these new pages, we need to add it to this category just so you can easily locate where these webinars are.
Right.
And that's just, again, for internal purposes. It won't really do anything externally. And then from there, like I did for 2018 webinars, you'd be able to grab these links from here and get the page URL.
Right.
So let me actually go within here, see how this is created. So this one,
Yeah, that's the link to the webinar.
okay. So then you would basically just give them access in the confirmation email. You would just send them the link to this page, correct?
Yes, that's exactly right. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So then there's no way to copy this page, so you kind of do have to create it from scratch. Was there a way to copy it on the old CMS? I don't remember.
You know,
I don't think it was, but
no, I guess you're right. I guess you had to add it and just copy over all the, copy paste the content.
Yeah. So then I'll just go over one page from scratch so you can kind of see how that's done on the new CMS. So on the top left here, we do the add content. And you'd probably want to use that same formatting for the title. So we do V82001 recording. Again, if you leave this blank, just like on the old CMS, if you leave this blank, this becomes the page title as well. Okay. We would set this to active. That's the number one thing that people often forget, to set it to active. So just remember to do that. If it is set to active, that doesn't mean that it becomes available on the website. It's not going to be here anywhere. You have to actually add that link still. Or if you want it to appear, not in this scenario, obviously, but if you did want this to appear within the navigation somewhere, you would actually click on, once we save and publish it, you click this area to move to menu.
Okay.
And we'll go over that as well, just so you can see how that looks. Once we add this page here, or once we add these settings here, we go to the content options and we see that it's selected for the WYSIWYG editor. So that's what we'll be using most of the time for this and for these recordings. So we'll go ahead and keep that option. We do have another option here that we use often, and which is the form option.
Yeah.
It is displayed a little differently than it was on the old CMS. So you have the option to select it from a form, a meeting, or an application. And the forms, Melody, just so you're aware, so we'll go over this in depth later on, but the forms are basically meetings, donation forms, anything. Basically, you can customize a form to create it however you want. Primarily, this is used for like donations, but you can use it for meetings too. But this area here, choose a meeting, this is what we use for meeting registrations. So just so you know, the meeting registrations are set up here in registration forms, and the forms here on top are set up here in the tools and forms builder. And again, we'll go over this in more detail in our training that I'll schedule with you. So yeah, for this one, we'll do the WYSIWYG editor. We do details. You can leave this alone. you know, let me cancel out and see how this is set up. Okay, so we do use the master template here. So when we use the master template, it copies over this header information. So I would recommend using the same template that we're using here. So no index robot. So we'll select that one. I don't want to type this again, so I'll copy this. Go to the new page. And set it to active, and we'll set this as yes to the master template. And we'll use the no index robot template. WYSIWYG editor, good. Details, we can leave this alone now. Access, Andrew, if you did want to make this available to just members or a specific subgroup, you can do that here as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I think that's a little different than what we had on the old CMS. And so when you select an existing account, you can select the contact or member types you wanted to select for those. And then same for meeting registrants. If you did want to make certain things available to just certain meeting registrants, you can do that here as well. Navigation, it's the same confusing settings as they were on the old CMS. The public link, public only link. So Melody, for your reference, the public only or public link means that it's viewable when not logged in. So we set this to yes so that it is available to everyone, whether they're logged in or not. Public only link, this is set to no because we don't, if the member is logged in, we still want them to be able to view this page. So that's why this is selected as no.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
To be honest, I don't like these settings very much. I think there's a easier way to display this from my phrase perspective, but they do it this way, so we just kind of have to stay with that. But usually we just keep it as a default settings. This one on top appears in mobile menu. Andrew, so the default for this is no, but if you did want it to appear in like the mobile site, you would select this as yes. This is only if you were to move it to the menu. So like if you were to include this link in that store confirmation, and if they open it up in like their mobile site, it will still work. This is just so that you can have it appear in the navigation in the website if you add it to the navigation.
Okay.
So we can leave this alone for a certain scenario. Meta tags, we don't do any work here. Add-ons, we don't do any work here either. Categories, this one is going to be pretty important. So we'll add the 2020 webinars here just so it's easier to keep track of this.
Under, what was it? Was it content options? We changed that setting? No, sorry, detail maybe? Access?
Well, access.
It was access, yeah, so that can just be everyone, right? Yeah.
That was, I should have changed that back. So it could be anyone.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, and then we will go ahead and save and publish this. And save and publish, when I do this, again, no one can see it unless you give them that link.
Right.
So I'll go to the 2020 webinars so we can see that one here. And so these ones you can see, I think you selected yes for menu. So these ones are showing on the live site right now. While these ones are not. So within here, once we do save and publish it, that book icon becomes available. So we can go ahead and edit that content here. And then you can go ahead and do
copy paste from an old one.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and use one of these. Just copy this over. Paste it here. And then you can obviously test it out as well. You can open it. And you can see what it looks like here.
Cool.
And you can also get that page URL by clicking this button here, and it gives you that page ID.
And that's just the end of the URL. So we'd have to put in aapb.org and then copy paste the i4a extension.
Exactly. Yeah. So I would type in aapb.org, and then I would paste the rest of it.
Oh.
Except that I pasted the same thing. Let me copy this again. All right, and I'll paste that and click enter. And we see that right over here. Any questions on how to do that?
No, I mean, that's pretty straightforward from my standpoint. So Melody, I'm sure this isn't.
It's kind of a little over my head, but it all is making sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm making some notes.
Yeah, and Melody, so the main thing to keep in mind here, so let's say you wanted to make like a edit to one of these pages. So like career opportunities, let's say. I click on this career opportunities. That's a very bad example. It's an external site. Let's go to consumers. All right, so let's say we wanted to make some changes to this page here. We see this page ID here on top, 3287. So we'll go over here to the content manager and we'll just type in 3287 here on the bottom right. And you'll want to make sure the category isn't filtered. So right now I'm filtered to this, so that's why it's not showing. So we want to display all. And so that consumers page shows up here. And we see that book icon here to edit the content. So we'll simply click on this and you can edit that content here. It's pretty identical to what you see here. So that's the number one thing I always say to remember if you want to remember something from the content manager. For the webinars though, it is a little different obviously since they don't appear on the website. So that's why we need these categories, just so we can easily find what we're looking for.
Right.
So the webinars are not on the website, but they're in the bookstore, which is not on the website.
So good point. So
I'm sorry, I called it bookstore. I meant store.
Yeah, no, you're totally good. So the reason this page the page that we just set up, that we just watched Samir set up, this is the page that they'll eventually receive or get to when they make the purchase for the recording. So it needs to maintain lockdown or private. So that way people can't just easily find it because the recording of that webinar is on that page.
Okay.
And so how this works, let me just, I guess I can walk you through that really quick. So when someone wants to purchase a recording, they'll go to the web store, they'll find it, they'll add it to their cart, they'll pay for it, and then they'll get an email confirmation with a link to a whole different page. I think it's a PDF document, so that they'll open up, and then in that PDF document is the webinar, or is the URL link to the page that we just set up, and then on that page is where the link to the recording exists.
Okay.
Yeah, so like all the recordings are set up here, and these are set up actually in the store here,
which is a different area.
Yeah, so that's a different area. So that's set up under store and maintain products and categories. So all of these are set up within here, and once they're set up here, they display here on the front end of the website. So if, like Andrew was saying, if someone were to go in here, add to cart, and check out, they have to log in. Once they log in, I think I have a user login. Let's try it out. Okay, yeah. So once they log in, enter in all their information, and continue. And then they pay and they submit. And once they submit, they receive that email that Andrew was talking about with the link to the webinar information.
Okay.
So Andrew, where do you actually set that up? That confirmation email.
So that confirmation email is in, I believe, it's in the settings. So if go back into,
Okay.
no, sorry, stay in the store, maintain products categories. Go to, go to like something from last 2019. Go into like 2019, yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
and then go ahead and hit edit. And then in the images and files area, there's that
Mm,
download PDF. There's that. So that we have to, that's another part of this, the setup process. We have to basically update this PDF document and upload it into the store confirmation.
got it. Okay. So let me open this so we can see what that looks like.
There it is.
Okay.
So everything remains the same except for that.
Here's the magical link.
Yep.
All right. Got it. So now this, all right, this all makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not the best process.
Yeah, but it
It's,
works. So,
yeah.
so yeah, it's good that, I mean, I had no idea this is where you set that up. So I
Mm-hmm.
learned something new today too. Nice. Okay. Cool. So, did you or Melody, did you have any questions about this process?
Not really. I think eventually when I get into it and I have like, I just need more exposure and
Yeah.
to try it out myself. Because right now I'm just taking notes because I won't remember everything you just showed me.
Yeah, and I am
So,
recording this as well, so you can always
oh,
reference
good.
back to
Oh,
this.
that would be great. I
Yeah,
was hoping it was recorded.
yeah. Um, Andrew, did you have anything else that we needed to go over, or did that kind of cover it?
Yeah, no, I think that covers it. Melody, if you still have some time, I've got 3 of these that I need to set up for 2020.
Okay.
If you want, we can do another separate Zoom and we can kind of go through those. And again, you can kind of watch me set those up and I'll, kind of walk through it
Yes,
with you.
yes. I think that would be really good for
Okay.
me. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Because again, there's more than this is just one of like 3 or 4 steps in total that need to occur. So,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
again, we already have procedures already written up. It was just this one step that we needed to change because of the content management system update.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
yeah, so everything, so we already have some procedures already created for the other steps that need to occur.
I went to the AAPB K files,
Uh-huh.
and I went to the webinar stuff and I printed a few things out, and then I thought it would probably make more sense when you and I got together and did some training on it. But
Yeah.
and I'm not sure if they were all updated. I know you said you were updating a lot of the procedures, so
Right.
I just printed a few things out. I didn't get that in depth, but things that
And
I thought would be helpful.
in there's actually there's a different area that should probably move these webinar procedures into the folder that you're in.
Oh
But
yeah.
if you go back to the main AAPB folder, and then if you scroll, there's a procedures folder.
That's where I was.
Oh, perfect. Okay, awesome. And then you go to webinars, and then there's step 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep, that's where I was.
Fantastic. Okay, so the step that that will be getting updated is that step 2, creating recording web page. The other
Okay.
steps 1, 3, and 4 are still accurate. It's just the step 2 is what we're going to need to get updated procedures for
Okay.
based on this training. So
Okay, sounds good.
cool.
And then we still have to go over, we got a lot to go over, like how you set up the registration stuff and
Yes.
just the webinars themselves. Actually, Jerry Lynn gave me a training session on how to do webinars and Zoom.
Oh, awesome. Cool.
And so I took a lot of notes there. So
Okay.
hopefully I won't be totally in the woods or in the dark really
Yeah.
when we do the next one. So I know
Mhm.
you're scheduling a bunch of them. Like how many? Like 4 in 2 weeks?
So I've not really gotten to that quite yet.
Okay.
But yeah, we've got, I think, probably 6 speakers who want to present.
Okay.
So there are 6 webinars right there. One of the speakers has a series of, I think, 3 or 4 total webinars.
I think that's the
S-
email I remember.
Right. So there's like 10.
And until 10 through this just spring and summer, right?
Yeah.
And you said usually there are about 4 or 5 in a year.
I think last year we got up to about 9 or so.
Oh, okay.
So, this is definitely a growing program for them.
Yeah,
And again, because we didn't have their meeting this spring and it got pushed to November, we're trying to fill that gap and offer more things.
sure.
And based on the 2 that we held in April, um, you know, there's definitely an audience out there wanting this. So,
Yeah,
we'll try to schedule these and stay on top of these as best as possible. But it's
sounds
definitely,
good.
it'll be something we tag team for sure for a little while.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, please.
Yes.
For the sake of the client.
Right.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
in fact, I just made up a title for myself since you're still on it, and I wanted to respond because I was getting some nice welcome melody emails, and so I needed to come up with a quick signature line. So I just made up a title.
Perfect. That's what we got to do
So I could
sometimes.
respond and not look like I was, just have my Kellen. So
Sure.
anyway, sounds good.
Okay, Melody, what is your title?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I just put association executive or
There
something
we
like
go.
that for
That
AA.
works.
It was something, nondescript.
Very official.
Sounds official, but very nondescript. It's like
Exactly.
I'll do anything.
Right.
Are you solely on AAPB, or are you on other clients as well?
I'm on ABTC, the American Board for Transplant
Okay.
Certification. That one I'm the um, executive director, and then I'm a
Cool.
number 2 person, the associate for the American Board for Genetic Counseling.
Okay.
So those are certification boards. So,
Got
but
it.
I spent most of my career with a membership association, so it's nice to come back to a membership.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
the certification boards are good, but you don't get quite the variety.
Hmm. Right.
So I have 2 other clients, so this is my 3rd for now. I don't know. I know Jerry Lynn wants to move some things around, but
Got it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure there
yeah,
will be changes.
I
Right.
know. So I only have 3. I hear, Andrew, I have you of like 20.
I had 5. I think I'm down to 4 now, but I'm
Might
still
as well have
supposed to.
20. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sheesh, I do not know how you do that.
I don't
Samir,